Well, hello there, everybody. My name is Andy Cotgreave, and this is going to be me analyzing data using advanced data analytics. Why don't we go ahead and I will share my screen and tell you what the plan is for the day. I'm very excited. I hope you are too. I can see comments, so go ahead and stick your comments as you go. All right, let's share the screen. We'll go entire screen and we'll set up. We'll go for this. All right, we are set. So, can ChatGPT do advanced data analytics? Let's find out. The reason I'm doing this is because a lot of time I find with videos on ChatGPT, you kind of see they look good and people do amazing things, but then when you actually get down to doing real tasks, things slightly fall apart. Doesn't quite work as well as you'd hoped. So that's not ideal. Can it do real world EDA? First of all, what on earth is EDA? Well, it's this. This is what we defined at Tableau. The cycle of visual analysis, we called it. You start with a task. We're going to try and find insights or drive change. So you need data. Then you find some structure in the data and start visualizing it, at which point you get insights that you can then act, take action, or share and drive things forward in your organization or whatever you're trying to achieve. So it's a cool little cycle because it then continues because that creates the act of acting or sharing insights gets new tasks. Of course, cycles are rarely nice and cyclical because you might jump at any point from one spoke to the other. You are in the center of this. Now, as somebody who's used Tableau for 17 years, I know the absolute power I have as a data analyst to jump anywhere. Can ChatGPT do the same? Well, let's have a look at what ChatGPT is and the Advanced Analytics plugin in case you haven't seen it. Let's just bring the browser up. Not there. So ChatGPT, I'm sure many of you have used it already. There is a plugin called Advanced Data Analysis. So I've got that selected. It's only available on ChatGPT 4, which, you have to pay for at the moment, but fortunately I can. If you want to turn that on, then you have to go into your settings down here in the bottom left, go into beta features and turn on Advanced Data Analysis here on this button. What does it say it is? You can get help for data analysis, image conversions, and editing code. Files will not persist beyond a single session. All right, fair enough. Let's see where we go. The other thing I've done with ChatGPT is set some custom instructions. Why have I done that? Because the data I'm going to try and explore today is UFO sightings. So yeah, I'm not an actual data analyst in UFO, but we'll see where we go. This data comes from Kaggle. Let's just get that data up for you. So here's the page on kaggle.com I've downloaded. And I promise you, for this, all I've done is just read about the data set. It contains the reports of all UFO sightings. Now, it's interesting. What I did find is that there's a few inconsistencies in this data set. So that's good, actually. One of the challenges of data analysis is how do you deal with dirty data? And then it rattles on. The only thing I've looked at is this metadata at the top of Kaggle's preview, just to see that it's a data set that's probably going to be good for data analysis. I have not looked at the data. The National UFO Reporting Center is a database with apparently 170,000 sightings of UFOs. Well, if that sounds cool, let's carry on. ChatGPT, here we go. So I'm going to upload the data, and I've got that in blogs and articles. Horror. Oh, horror. That's the next one I'm going to do. Okay, here's my data. Right. Oh, I haven't shown. I'll show you the custom instructions. Custom instructions. You can set this at the sort of the top level of ChatGPT so that it follows your. It gives you answers tailored to who you are and what you're trying to do. I'm interested in UFOs. Are they genuinely extraterrestrial or terrestrial objects misinterpreted? And then in terms of response, I've said here that I'm new to exploratory data analysis and data viz. Haven't done much stats work. ChatGPT should be polite. Now, yeah, I actually have got about 20 years of work in this field, but I'm interested this week because we're going to do this a few times in seeing how it does. All right, let's go. So can you help me do some exploratory data analysis with this data? Let's say I want ultimately to do a presentation to my new data friends about UFOs. I'm literally making this up on the fly. Hopefully, we're going to find some interesting insights. Okay, so that's a brief introduction to what EDA is. It's a crucial step in understanding patterns, potential anomalies in the dataset. Looks like it's going to look at the data. I'll come back to that show work button in a moment in case you've not seen it. So I've done this a few times. This is actually really nice. This can be quite tedious when you're doing something like this in Tableau. It's creating a data dictionary based on what it thinks is correct. At this point, do I trust it? Right? Trust it? I mean, I'm not going to go and look at the data set unless I have to. So I'm going to trust that this is right. Will it always get this correct? I don't know. So what can we do? Temporal trends, geographical distribution, shape and duration, shape and population analysis. All right. Okay. And there's text. All right. There's text analysis. Great. So we can do some sentiment and text analysis. Let's look at sightings over time. I think that's always interesting. I'm not going to be very verbose about how to ask for this. I'm just going to let it do it for me. Valuable insights into how sightings have changed over time. Frequency over different scales. Let's clean and format. Right. So it didn't tell me that the data was clean or dirty, but it has actually already started cleaning the data. Let's have a look at what it's doing. So you can see the Python code as it gets written. Looks like it's converted everything to a day and time format, and then it's just going to any rows that have got dirty data is just going to replace or remove. Is that good? And then we're going to start getting the plot. All right, so there we go. What? That's odd. So it's saying there doesn't appear to be a consistent trend. Are the sightings before 2020 genuine? It looks like there weren't any. I have a feeling there's some dirty data in there that predates 2020, because one thing I did notice in Kaggle is you see, I'm pretty sure in Kaggle it was just 2022. So it seems to have found dirty data. I'm gonna let's go. Show me a table of sightings per year. Right, I just want to examine this data, see if it's dirty and we can clean it up a bit. This is what I do in Tableau. You see, I really didn't want to go into Tableau with this data set, but I feel like I might have to because let's go back to Kaggle. The data set in Kaggle. Right, okay, so there's a date, there's a when was it posted, and there's a date going back to 1975, but almost everything is in 2023. So I'm not quite sure why it has decided those dates before 2023. You know what I'm going to do? I am just going to keep see, now I feel like I'm doing a step because I know what the data I downloaded is. So we're going to look at just 2022 and 2023. I might do that in Tableau on my own. You know, I might realize that the data's not complete. So now we'll try and draw a line chart of sightings by, I want to see sightings by month. All right. Yeah. Show me sightings by month. It's giving me some interesting suggestions here. Let's do sightings by month. I mean, I like this. With EDA, where are things happening? What kind of things are getting seen? I guess shape and duration is what's the actual UFO type. It's looking at population. I guess I have got city in this data set, and we can look at the descriptions as well. So let's go ahead and see sightings by month for the years 2022 and 2023. Oh, great. We got an error plotting the data by month. How does the Seaborn library interact with period data in pandas? What? I mean, so I guess here, if I was a new data analyst, then perhaps at this point I'm learning Python. All right, there you go. That looks a bit better. So what it looks like, most sightings happened in September 2022, and then they dipped around Christmas. Why are there fewer sightings in December? Is that of note? Unfortunately, I've only got 1 year's worth of data, so I can't see if there's it'd be great to have all the year's data. If there's fewer sightings at Christmas, is that because aliens don't come, or is it because people are indoors? Okay, no, so it's saying there's no clear pattern. What about during the weekends or weekdays? My hunches, I don't know. I mean, I'm bringing all my cliches. Are people drunk and outside at the weekend? So maybe they see more with UFOs. I don't know. It rather politically says social or observational factors, which might, I've seen Mars Attacks, the movie. It's like drunk people looking at the sky. Okay, so it's creating a plot. When I'm using Tableau, I'm just in the flow of data analysis. I'm dragging, I'm dropping, I'm seeing things, and I'm always touching and feeling and progressing with the data. And that's very important in terms of the psychology of maintaining focus on a task. The downside of this is I ask it to do a task and then I have to sit and wait. And it's very tempting to tab away and go and do something else and then come back. So there's less of a sense of continuity in the process. Okay, what's it good? We've got a plot. We can see there are more sightings on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I predicted that, right? Is that because aliens come and visit us more, or is it because people are outside and or drunk on those weekends? So that's quite interesting. Now, my pro knowledge of data viz is this is a really good chart. It's aggregated the data, and it's added redundant color. I don't really know why it's added color at all. In fact, I don't like that color. But okay, what's that? Sightings are consistent across weekdays. There's not a significant spike. Why do you say there isn't a significant spike during weekends? It looks like those are the days when most people see UFOs. See, I mean, that to me, so you got 150 and then 175. Right. I'm guessing it said it's not significant because of statistical significance. But now I've just said, oh, okay, I'll agree with you. There is indeed an increase in the number of days. The term significant can be subjective when looking at a visual representation, and in this case, the increasing sightings is noteworthy. Would you like to conduct a more formal statistical test? Yes, let's do that. Let's do a more formal stats test to see if the increased sightings at the weekend are significant. See, at this point, I feel like ChatGPT has gone, I can't see a trend. Then I've gone, are you sure? Oh, yeah, I do see a trend. After all, I'm sorry, I see a trend. Well, I mean, visually, let's look. Visually, it's really obvious that there's a difference, right? Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are the most common days for UFO sightings. Did it just not see that? Or did it use the statistical definition to tell me there was nothing significant? I don't know. Well, let's find out. So what's it going to do? It's going to do a chi-square test, goodness of fit. Okay, that's fine. I do know what a chi-square test is from my old days of stats. So it's going to give me... Right, okay. Right, so in other words, the increase in sightings during the weekend is statistically significant based on this test. So its first attempt, it did get it wrong. It did get it wrong, and it missed it out, right? Now, the good news is it created a chart. I can visually see it's different, but it got that wrong. So there's a temporal issue. Right, I don't know if it can do this because what I want to do is now take on a different path. So I'm just like, can we save that as a bookmark? All right. What else? What about? Should we look at geography? Let's see. Let's look at where. Can you draw a map? Well, in fact, let's just ask, how would you do this? Where are the sightings? As an expert, I would probably choose a map first. I actually don't know if this is just US or global. So in fact, I probably should ask that. So we can do a bar chart or a heat map, cities. Now this is interesting. Right. So It can't do maps, so that's a bit of a shame. It has suggested doing bar charts anyway, which is actually quite cool. Let's look at states as a bar chart. Of course, if I was doing this in Tableau as an expert, I would have done all of this. Would have taken me about 3 minutes. Now, granted, there are 8 billion people on the planet, 9 billion, 10 billion. Very few of them have got the time or inclination to learn Tableau, but many of them are capable of writing text in a text box. So while this might be a bit frustrating and slow for me, it's definitely democratizing access for many people. That's ugly. Okay, so the most that's a really ugly chart. There's too many borders. There's too many grid lines. The states are abbreviated. Okay, right. I want to change. Right. So I want to make it taller. Remove the grid lines because they're all grid lines and color, and replace the state abbreviations with the full names. As an expert, another part of EDA is knowing that you build a chart, but then you kind of have to manipulate it and play with it a little bit in order to see it in the best light possible. So I don't mind that it defaults to adding lots of grid lines. That's a reasonable default, but it doesn't work as a default in this one because there's 50 or 52 rows in this chart. Let's see how it goes. Nope, it's not responded with the prompts. Is it getting terse with me? It's just like, oh, all right, I'll get on with your work. You noticed every other thing it's done before, it's given me a little preamble going, hey, yeah, I'll do this stuff for you. Now it's like, all right, I'll be fine. Let me get on with it. By the way, as we're waiting, these are going to run. I'm going to do an hour's worth of analysis here. We'll see where we get. And we'll see if we can get an output presentation file at the end of it. If you are liking what you see, then please don't forget to click subscribe. Oh, that hides me. Like and subscribe this. I'm going to be doing some fun content about charts in movies in November, so go check that out. All right. Oh, look, this is quite nice. Right. Now, the Tableau user in me I now just turn labels onto the bars because the axis is down here. The axis is here. And when I'm looking at Florida, I can't see what it is. Label each bar with the number of sightings. Again, in Tableau, this is like a single button click, and the same in things like Power BI, Excel, etc. It's got to go and do the entire work all over again. Presumably it's going to take what it got from the conversation. Anyway, while it's doing that, what can we see? Florida, California, Texas, Pennsylvania, Arizona, New York, Washington, Oregon. What do we know about those states? Well, they have the highest UFO sightings. What do we know about them? They're also the most populous states in the US. So I'm going to have to ask it to get population and normalize it. That's what I know it should do. In fact, I'm going to ask ChatGPT if it recommends it. All right, here you go. 99 sightings in Florida. Here's the updated bar chart. It makes it easier to see. Would you like to delve deeper? Right. Okay, so this is good. Would you like to look into the relationship between population size and sightings? Yes. So that's the first thing. Can we explore sightings relative to population in each state? Okay, so at this point, I haven't got US state population data. It's not in the data set. So how are we going to do this? We can, oh crikey, add Aggregate the total population for each state by summing the population for each sighting. What? Calculate the number of sightings per capita for each state. Create a capital. Oh, it's going to do that. Right. Okay. Aggregate the total population for each state by summing the population for each sighting. What? I really don't know what this means. I'm just going to scroll up all the way back up to the data dictionary. All right. So we do have the population of the city where the sighting occurred. All right. Okay. So population is in the data set, but it's the population for the city. So I really don't want it to do step one because it's going. If there are 100 population, if there are 100 sightings in Las Vegas, then yeah, you see what's it done? Whoa. I mean, is that right? So is Vermont the highest UFO sighting per capita by state? Here's the bar chart showing per 100,000 people by state. Okay, so I don't know what it did with this aggregating the cities thing. So I hope it's just done number 2, right? Each bar is labeled with the exact number of sightings per capita to 2 decimal points. So it varies between states. Some states with lower overall sightings may have a higher sightings per capita, indicating that the number of sightings is not strictly correlated with population size. Okay, so what I'd like... Right, I'm being greedy. I want everything. So I want sightings, population of state, and sightings per capita. Because I don't mind seeing 10.53, but is Vermont the tiniest state in the US? I've been to Vermont. It's a very nice place. How would I draw this chart that it's going to draw? It's going to do a grouped bar chart. Something called a table lens. Ideally, I'd like Vermont and then 2 text columns, one for population, one for sightings, and then the bar chart showing sightings. But it's going ahead with a group bar chart, which is fine. And again, now this is the challenge of ChatGPT is I'm bored. Hopefully you're not bored. Don't go away. Don't go away. So it's adding labels. Now, I have to say though, while I'm bored, if I was having to write this in Python, clearly this would be an absolute tedious disaster, and it is writing the Python for me, right? Let's not underestimate that. I know as a Tableau user, I could be doing this very, very quickly, but I have invested 17 years of using and working at Tableau in order to be very good. All right. Oh, good God. No, you see, that's really bad. Oh, ugh. So it's done for each. Ugh. For each state, I guess it has just drawn. It's drawn 3 bars next to each other. So we've got sightings population and sightings per 100,000 people, but it's used the same x-axis for each of them, so you can only see total population unless you've rendered something really unreadable. So I'm going to say that's totally unreadable. Can you redraw it so I can compare each measure across states? Now, if I was not an expert, it might be reasonable for me to say That's unreadable. Can you redraw it? I'm just giving it so I can compare each measure across states. Perhaps this is a lean way to lean it towards the kind of thing that I have in mind. So again, this is the expert in me trying to lead it. If you're not an expert in EDA, you might not have that things. Right, well, there you go. So again, a better approach might be to make the data more readable, could be to plot each measure in separate bar charts, yes, but aligned horizontally. Oh, not quite sure what it's going to do with this aligned horizontally. Oh, it's did it. Oh, that's brilliant. Right. Okay, so right. Okay, what's it saying? Okay, here are the aligned bar charts. The first chart shows number of sightings by state. The second chart displays total population, and the third shows the number of sightings per 100,000 people. Okay, so that's cool, right? So you can see Vermont has one of the smallest populations, and one of the lowest raw number of sightings, but it's actually because both numbers are very small and they're close to each other, it's got the most sightings per 100,000 people. California and Florida, you can see there are really loads and loads of sightings, but there's loads and loads of people. I really wish this was interactive. Surely not. Surely it can't make an interactive version of this chart. I'll be blown away if it can. What I want to do is kind of hover over the tooltips to see the exact values. I want to create this sense of tooltips. But that's a really useful chart. We can see that we can see what's going on. So, okay, West Vermont and West Virginia, North Dakota, Maine, Iowa, Delaware, Minnesota. They are our highest UFO ratings once we normalize by population. Well, that's quite interesting. Maybe I should go and visit those places. Okay. I can do this using Plotly on my local machine. Sure. Show me Plotly. Code snippet. Right. I don't know how to use Plotly. I have been there once or twice. Let's go to Plotly. Okay. Can't use Plotly because... Okay, right. Can't use Plotly. I would have to use Plotly within Python, and I'm not set up to use Python on this desktop, so we're not going to go down that path. But it's giving me the code if I wanted to write that. Okay, that's good. Let me just ask. I'm going to ask it what conclusions. What can it find the analysis for me? I mean, I've seen some insight, but what else? Oh, actually, I asked the wrong thing. Stop generating. Let's go back to state. I'll start with the so what have we got? States with populations might expect it to more. Yeah, right. Some states had disproportionately high number of sightings. Which ones? Right. I'm going to copy that. Our statistical test that sightings are more common on weekends. Right. Oh, that was a different analysis. Varies widely. Right. So let's do that. I feel like it's being very non-committal in terms of actually making a conclusion. Let's have a look. So the top 5 states with the number is for a clearer understanding. For one, oh look, it does nice scientific fonts, scientific annotations, but it has to use a serif font to do that. Let's keep that observation as our next key point. All right. I think what I'd like to do next is, what have we got in the data? So we've got duration and a summary. A summary. Oh, we've got images as well. Let's talk about shape and summary. Okay. Okay. All right. Down to the bottom. 2 key points so far. Right. Well, thank you, ChatGPT. Yeah. Let's look at what types of UFOs are reported. Which fields will help us? So I know it's shape and summary. Oh, duration. Oh, there's comments as well. Oh, I didn't see that. What? Why is it says comment? Did I misread that? Let's go back to the top. What? There's a summary, but not a comments field. All right. Okay. Well, I'll just go. So this is interesting. So the cliche for UFOs will be round disc-shaped things, right? Or perhaps a TIE fighter from Star Wars. So the most common. So they're going to. Oh, another bar chart. Again, I'm broken out of the thought. Right. Cool. Look at this. Circles, light, other, changing, unknown, sphere, cigar, triangle, disc, orb, cylinder, rectangle. Brilliant stuff. Chevron. Oh, the old chevron. An egg, cone, cross, star, and a teardrop. Nice. All right. I feel like we're 39 minutes in. I've got something juicy. Okay, so that's interesting. What about the text? What about the comments? Can you... So this is a free text. Can it analyze text columns? Because this would be really hard in the tools I have in Tableau. You can't really do text analysis in Tableau. Word frequency count. So I guess probe, abduction, or shining light, rapid moving, distant, who knows what kind of thing. Sentiment analysis, bigram. Let's look at bigram. Let's do frequency count and bigram. Let's do frequency count and bigram analysis. Might do sentiment in a minute. Let's look at free. Woo, my sheet died. So this is something that'd be hard to do in Tableau. Clearly, we can write this script in Python, but I don't know how to write Python language. So this is doing something that is of great assistance to me, and something I wouldn't be able to do. So in fact, as we watch, right, so it's going to do a word frequency count. It's going to remove stop words. That's great. So let's see how this code looks. So I guess we've got counters. We've got a corpus of stop words. Then it's loading everything up. It's going to remove the stop words. It's going to do the frequency count, which, look at that. It turns out it's just a command on Python. If you're a Python coder, you already knew that. If you're like me, you didn't. Yeah, there isn't a column named comments. Well, duh, I realized that. It looks like the column named comments is actually named summary. Right. So this is what I was saying a minute ago. I didn't think there was a comments field, and it's just gone and made that up. Now, the good news is it looks like it has worked out that mistake already. But in some ways, this feels like I am leading a moderately talented intern in that they're, and this isn't to disparage the many brilliant interns I've worked with who are talented and diligent, but it's more it's the cliche of an intern who's a bit like, huh? Okay, I'll go and analyze the data. Oh, sorry, I didn't do it right. It's kind of a C+ grade, so it's better than a D, but it's not A star, and that's not ideal. Oh, brilliant. My current environment lacks internet access, so I can't do the tokenizer. What? I'm sure can you try again to do a word frequency count? Perhaps the tokenizer was for the bigram. Oh, again, decided it didn't like this question. It doesn't like being asked to do things twice. Oh yeah, so maybe the bigrams. Right. Okay. Well, let's see. Oh dear. Now, at this point, a little secret. I have done a text analysis in ChatGPT 4. So I know it can do a word frequency count. And so I find it interesting that this time it's decided it's not. And that's one of the other challenges, right? So here's a feature. I've said, do a word frequency count. It's going, yeah, I'll do it. Oh, no, sorry, can't do a frequency count. But then I literally did one the other day. Imagine going to use Microsoft Word and trying to press the print button and going, oh, you can't use that one today. But I used it yesterday. No. So I feel like there's this roller coaster with GPT. And again, I've experienced this in the advanced data analysis in that you're like, oh my God, you're going to do a word frequency count bigrams. That's absolutely amazing. And then you crush me. And you crush me in a way that I don't know if you're going to succeed at something tomorrow if I try the same thing. It's this, it's like talking to a human being. Will I get happy Andy or sad Andy when you next speak to him? Ah, we're here. It did it. Right. That's quite disappointing, isn't it? I was hoping for some more interesting words than this. Sky, object, lights, light, bright, saw, moving, white, light, craft. All right. I'm just hoping for more unusual words. Let's say, are there any unusual words in the frequency count table? I mean, here I'm digging now for the story about I don't know. I was abducted by aliens. Okay, maybe there aren't any. Fine. Can I download a file of the word frequency count? I could go and test this data myself. In fact, let's just open Tableau up. So this is something I've seen done before. This is amazing. Let's just download. I'm going to download this file. We'll put this in UFO, word frequency count. So I'm going to cheat. This is a quick diversion. This is Tableau. I'm going to connect to that file in Tableau. We're going to go UFO, word frequency count. So here it is. So here's the word. Here's the frequency. Oh. It's only downloaded. Oh, it's only given me the words that were in the chart that it built. So it hasn't given me all the words. So I'm going to have to start again. Close. Don't change that. Let's minimize that. Can you create a file for all the words in the frequency analysis? All right, we're at 45 minutes now, so I'm going to start wrapping up. We've looked at sentiment, we've looked at the types of shapes, and actually, like in real exploratory data analysis, I haven't actually found anything of interest in the word summaries, or not of interest to me. Yeah, that isn't a failure at all, because this is something that would happen in any data analysis project. You have a hunch. Oh, I think there'll be interesting word summaries here. And turns out, there's not really anything of note. Most people mention the sky. Most people mention object and light. So now it's done a complete word frequency download. Let's reopen Tableau, open this in a text file. It's this one, right? Okay, we have more data. So here are all the words. Here, it's included stop words as well. Format, workbook, font 12, so you can all see it. Objects large, right? It's just disappeared. It's just not very exciting, is it? Sound, photos, circular changing. All right. Orbs. Okay, so it's right. There is no interesting exploratory data analysis to be done on a word frequency count. Okay, let's try bigram, and then we'll start summing up. Let's do bigram analysis. I don't know what bigram analysis is, so maybe this will find interesting things here. My suspicion is this isn't a very big data set. I think I've come across bigrams. They're quite interesting when you're playing with big corpuses of text for trends. But this is quite a small data set. New fork note. Okay, bright light. Notes Jupiter, Venus, across sky, bright lights. Yeah, shaped object. Looked like. Okay, you know what? There isn't anything of super interest in the comment section. That's fine. Maybe if we had all of the UFO data, that might be different, but I think that's fine. So let's begin wrapping up. No, I think that is enough analysis. Let's see if it can remember. Can you summarize the key insights we've found? So what do I think? I think we found the weekdays, the most common state and the what was the last? Oh, and the shapes. Yeah, thank you, ChatGPT. Right, so I think right. I'm not interested in word frequency and bigram. Okay. So now, if I was to do a presentation, right. So let's drop the word frequency and bigram from our summary of insights. I'd like right. First thing I want is, let's say I'm doing a presentation. What I do know is that charts need to be optimized for presentations. Check out any of my stuff on social media for multiple things of that. Right. So this is me teasing ChatGPT. A chart for presentations. The title needs to be big. The colors need to be reduced. You need minimal grid lines. Nothing should be squished up. So it's quite a challenge. It's a very human challenge, I think, at the moment. Can it do it with me? What do you think? Leave some comments below. Don't forget to click like or subscribe. As I said earlier, I'm going. What? I'm going to be doing great content on charts and movies coming up on this channel soon, so keep your eye out for that. What? What? That's not a summary chart. That's what? What? I wanted 3 separate charts. I want you to create 3 separate charts, one for each of our insights, designed for our presentation. Oh, it's done that again. It's like, oh, I'm just going to get straight on with the work. I'm not going to apologize. I mean, what? There's no data. Did it try? Create the plot. Horizontal lines, remove axes. It looks like it just forgot to create plots. Well, I don't know. I don't know my Python, so I don't quite know what it's done here. Right, this is going to take a while. Let me know how you've been getting on with ChatGPT. What do you think? Have you tried to do actual real-world data analysis? My conclusion here is, as somebody who knows how to do data analysis, this is really slow. Oh, my Lord. What? It's slow. I would have done got to a lot of these conclusions quicker. But not everybody knows how to use Tableau, Power BI, Excel, or other tools. So text perhaps is going to help them anyway. But now what do? It's like, here are 3 separate charts. But and now I'm in this example where it's like, this is really frustrating, right? Because now it's been quite useful. We've kind of been working together, and now I'm in this dead end where it's just What's it doing? It looks like it's kind of optimizing them for presentations. The fonts have gotten bigger and bolder. That's all right. Oh, I see what it's done. Okay, right. Okay. Let me apologize to ChatGPT. What it is that you've probably all seen this already. Key insight one. I was looking for a chart of data visual. Key insight one: weekend sightings. Statistically significant increase in UFO sightings during the weekends. Key insight two: statewide distribution. High sightings per 100,000 people are in Vermont, West Virginia, North Dakota, Maine, Iowa. Shapes. Most frequent shapes are light, circle, triangle. Okay, so the insight was there. Was it there in the previous one? No, it wasn't there in the previous one. So it did make things a bit better. Aha! Right. Here we go. Weekend sightings. Okay, so now it's replaced it with a chart instead. Weekend sightings. Right, it's quite a saturated color. Statewide distribution. And common shapes. Right. Okay, well, we've only got 4 minutes to go. As somebody who knows how to do things, what would I do with this one? First of all, the title, I would rather say, when are UFOs seen during the week? I would highlight the weekend days with this bold color and then make the weekdays, or make Monday to Thursday slightly more subdued, because I'd be drawing attention to the weekends. Right. I'd also remove the grid lines. On this one, I'd say top 5 states by sightings per 100,000 people. I'd reverse the order. And on common shapes, I'd say top 3 most common shapes. Okay, let's see. Let's give it one chance to... A big part of EDA is this bit where you are forming the structure in order to deliver the insights. Wow. So what's the first one? Right, I am now going into expert mode with a categorical color palette. One color for weekend days and another color for weekdays. Will it do Friday? Change the title to explain to something that explains the insights. Okay. I'm giving it a long old prompt here. Reverse the sort order. And then common shapes. Right, and then for all of the charts, use a more pastel, a more subdued color palette and remove grid lines. All right, that is a big old prompt. We're about 1 minute to go before my hour is up, so I'm going to keep going until it does this. Let's see what it does. What is my conclusion? What is my conclusion? Well, ChatGPT has not done a bad job here. Clearly, if I knew nothing about EDA, I have found insight. I have genuinely found things out about UFO shapes, the type of things people write when they're doing the comments, what state, what city. Actually, we didn't look at city, did we? And what days of the week people look at things. So without a shadow of doubt, I have done exploratory data analysis, and I've got it to output things. The element to which the flow is broken while you're waiting for it to write code makes me wonder. I mean, I would rather be dragging and dropping and iterating towards answers. That's for sure. Right, we'll come back to what it's done in a minute. When ChatGPT starts going down a little alleyway, it's really interesting. How do you pull it back from its mistakes and then be more nuanced as you describe more clearly what it is you want? That's a challenge. That requires good English literacy. You have to be able to write well to craft those prompts. But I've got outputs. You know, I've got outputs. This is pretty amazing. So what have we got? This is cool, right? Grid lines have gone. It's given me the weekend days have higher sightings. It could have included Friday. I'm not going to give it a bad mark for not including Friday, but it's got a contrasting color palette. So let's go back to this. States with the most sightings per capita. That's cool. It chose to not use the population or the number of sightings because remember we did two different bar charts. That's all right because it's a bit. This is optimized for summary. And here are the most frequently reported UFO shapes. Okay, I would make these fonts bigger on the labels because nobody's going to be able to read that. You probably can't read it on your screens watching this video. Yeah, I think we'll download these. Now, can it download it as a PowerPoint? So let's try and get an intro slide with with a relevant image and title. So I'm going to ask it to do PowerPoint. I believe it can do this. It'll be really interesting to see how good it does. And then I'll ask it to give me a script that I can do to share with my friends. And we'll see. Is that good enough? Now, we're over an hour in. Has this been real data analysis? Well, I am not really a UFO expert, so there is an artifice in this data exploration. This is genuinely a data set I've never looked at, so I have genuinely been exploring it just for curiosity's sakes. As we continue this, next week I'm going to be looking at horror movies. So I've got a big data set of horror movies from IMDb. Now, I am a horror movie fan. So that'll be slightly more directed. And then after that, I'm going to be looking at an open data set of clinical data trials. And that data set contains much more real world data that more real world people will have interest in. So we'll see how that goes. Is that my UFO image? Well, thanks. So there you go. Well, not there you go yet. Let's download this PowerPoint. It's got a placeholder image. All right. Okay, fair enough. This isn't Midjourney. I could go and make a chart for Midjourney. Let's download the PowerPoint presentation. And also something else, just to summarize, something it has done, which is pretty cool, is it's created a data set from word frequency count, and it has created a PowerPoint file including these images. Right, I'll show you the PowerPoint right now. Make a script for me to entertain my friends with about UFO sightings. Include jokes about ET and aliens. This is going to be cheesy. Right, while it does that, here's what we got in PowerPoint. I mean, this is awesome, right? It's not the PowerPoint I would have built, but it's not bad, right? It's not bad. If my kids delivered this at school, I think this would be pretty powerful, which means teachers might need to be quite scared. Over time, I can see just so many little quirky. My expertise identifies things that are just not right with this for a presentation or for a PowerPoint design. So what does that make me conclude? Well, before we do this, ladies and gentlemen, gather around tonight. In fact, you know what? I'm going to present this. Here we go. Let's finish up with the presentation. I hope you've liked this. If you have, click like and subscribe. If you haven't, let me know in the comments. I'll be back again next week with horror data from imdb.com. But for now, here is a presentation about UFO sightings and data analysis. Okay. I've lost my script. Oh, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, gather around. Tonight, we're not talking about your average flying saucer, unless you're a Frisbee enthusiast. No, we're diving into the mysterious world of UFOs. Hey, why did the alien break up with your girlfriend? Because she was too down to earth. Let's kick off with a look at when these sightings usually happen. And no, it's not just after a night at the bar. As you can see, even aliens need a weekend getaway, and Earth is apparently the hot destination. I guess E.T. also wants to phone home and say, "Hey, Mom, I'm going to Earth this weekend." Now, you might be wondering where you should go if you want to spot a UFO. Roswell, Area 51, your crazy uncle's backyard? Surprisingly, the top states for UFO sightings are Vermont, West Virginia, North Dakota, Maine, and Iowa. Seems like aliens are into hiking. Oh, sorry, just broke my slide. I've just lost my slides. Where's it gone? Seems like aliens are into hiking, country music, and cornfields. I hear aliens love Vermont because they're really into space syrup. It's out of this world. I'm British. I don't get that joke. How about common shape? Let's talk shapes. I'm not talking about the shape I'm in after a night of stargazing and snacking, but the shapes people report when they see UFOs. The most common shapes are light, circle, and triangle. No squares allowed, it seems. Why did the triangle UFO get kicked out of the alien fleet? Because it was never on point. So there you have it, folks. The next time you're out on a weekend camping trip in Vermont, just keep your eyes peeled for some triangular lights in the sky. And remember, if an alien asks you to take me to your leader, just send them to your most entertaining friend, which is me, of course. Any questions? Or should we move on to probing the snack table? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the script and slideshow created by ChatGPT after we analysed UFO sightings data together for an hour. Thank you. Oh, right, let's go. How do I end this stream? Like, subscribe, do all the things. I've completely lost the studio. Are you all still there? I don't know where you are. Oh, there you are. All right, take care. See you next time.